The Paladin guy just flies out and just flies through all the ships. He just destroys them all by flying through them. Okay, so recently I was looking through all the movies you could rent, you know, the Oscars just happened, so, you know, I thought I'd like to check out some of the new movies that were out, and as I was looking through these, I stumbled upon this amazing movie called Battle Star Wars. It really piqued my interest because this movie has nothing to do with actual Star Wars. So I thought, let's rent this movie, let's check it out. Is it better than the new Star Wars movie? I don't know. Is this better than The Mandalorian? Maybe, I don't know. It could be really good. And it turns out it's already on Prime, so it's perfect. Which is really great because I didn't have to specifically pay for it. So yeah, I'm happy about that. So if you do want to check out this movie, you can watch it on Amazon Prime Video if you have that. So check it out there. I have my mic on, that's good. Has it been on the whole time? So we're just gonna watch this movie then. Over 1,300 cycles into the future. So, you know, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, they're like, nah, we're in the future.
Personnel, prepare to disembark. Grab what you need and get to the front of the ship.
As you can see, the budget for CGI on this movie wasn't a lot, but that's okay because not every studio has the same amount of money as Disney. They can't just chuck like $400 million at random projects here and there. You know, this is probably made in somebody's basement. So the beginning scene is a bit confusing. I don't really 100% understand it, but basically this guy is trying to transport something to Haven, which is a secret planet. And then these people who are part of the coalition stop him and tell him he can't do that.
You are in violation of coalition regulation.
What the?
Further transgression will be considered a declaration of war.
They board the ship and they look like this.
Look, buddy, I need you to hear me out. I'm not your enemy.
So as you can see, there's a guy dressed up in some laser tag gear with a halo sword. So it's actually this whole species of people, and they're called Paladins. So anyways, he's part of the coalition for some reason, somehow. I don't know why, you don't know this, it's just, that's what it is. And the sound effects for the guns are really funny too on this movie because sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. I don't know why that is.
Screw it.
Commander Corcoran, by order of the coalition, stop the ship now.
We no longer answer to the coalition of planets.
Treason, Commander.
So for some reason, they have to blow up the ship, so they do that, and then it explodes, and it looks like somebody dropped a bunch of Legos on the floor. And then we have the credits. And you know, so this movie is an asylum movie. So then it like skips forward a couple years, and then he meets up with the pirate that was supposed to come help him out before his ship exploded.
You made it.
Ajax.
And he's like, the main character kind of looks like a Han Solo knockoff. You know, he's got that vest and the white shirt. So that's all I kind of think of. It's just like knockoff Han Solo, and then there's this pirate here, like a bounty hunter, like all Star Wars movies. And then this guy, while they're having their conversation about Haven and how to get there, this guy shows up, which is like a discount Chewie, I think, because he like growls a lot. He goes, "Rrr." I don't need to do that. Why am I imitating him? You know what a growl is.
Hey, buddy.
He's actually supposed to be like a designed soldier, like a genetically designed soldier kind of species type thing. And I didn't know that at the time, and I was just like, why is he acting so weird? That's the thing with this movie, it's really hard to follow because there's lots of stuff that you kind of should know but you don't know. So then a really big twist comes, which you definitely didn't expect. She turns on him and says that she's working for the coalition and she's gonna like take him to the coalition. So she handcuffs him and, you know, stuff like that.
Did you catch all that?
Is he the rebel leader?
No. Just the guy that knows how to get there.
Roger, roger. The coalition thanks you, Captain.
So in the next scene, you get to see the other main characters of this movie, which is the daughter of the actual main leader, that evil guy. And she has this kind of like robot helper, basically. And yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, I didn't know Marzio was in a movie. So then the Mallister guy wants his daughter to come up to the control deck for some reason. So he sends his like weird rock and roll looking guy over there. He goes over there and says, you gotta come with me, we gotta go to the control deck. But for some reason, he doesn't realize that she's a projection and she sounds like a robot.
Your father wants to see you on the control deck.
I'll be right there.
No, I'll take you there now.
Lead the way. How far can you project that thing? We'll find out. You know, it's an important day for my father.
Mm-hmm. And for you, I'm sure.
Then you're gonna really love it.
Where's Astera?
So yeah, he gets fooled by that and she walks off. And the thing about this too is the robot helper just can do pretty much anything they want. She can teleport, she can fly, she can send projections anywhere basically. But they are kind of needed in the story because they're the only reason anything actually happens in the story is basically because of them. Like the main characters always get stuck in the same old situations and then basically the robot person just helps them get out of it. So then we're greeted with evil Mallister, the guy super evil who controls all of the coalition, and he's wearing a bathrobe. So yeah, he's pretty intimidating, pretty scary.
I think battle stations, please. And see if you can find Astera.
So he sends out a message to the planet, the one that they were trying to take all the cargo to that got blown up into Lego pieces.
Attention, enemies of the Coalition. There is no corner of the galaxy that the arms of the Coalition cannot reach. And today, I am in its hand. You have 24 hours to surrender the planet.
Somehow, when he speaks, he can just like project himself onto the planet. How does that work? So Marzia and her robot helper escape from the ship in like one of those little evacuation pod thingies that every Star Wars ship has. And then they end up somehow on the pirate cargo ship. I don't know how that happens.
System log shows Commander Corbin should still be on board.
Lead the way, and hurry.
This way.
And then they free Mr. Han Solo guy.
Hi. I'm Corbin.
Astera Mallister.
Yeah, I know who you are. Where are we going?
We have to get off the ship. Launch your fleet, activate your defenses, fight back.
So basically his daughter tells this guy like, oh, you guys need to like get all the ships you can, you know, typical rebel style, grab everything you can, and we need to fight the coalition because they're gonna take over the planet and we don't want that to happen. So he's like, these guys are all refugees, they don't know how to fly, there's no ships that they can even fly, you know, it doesn't work, we don't have anything. So she's like, what do you guys have? And they're like, we have a paladin. So that guy from before with the laser tag suit and the Halo sword, he was apparently frozen somewhere away for some reason. I don't know why. So they end up just going to this place, which is just a whole bunch of just bits of stuff floating around. And some reason that's where the paladin guy is staying. I don't know why he's there.
Take him out.
And then the paladin guy just flies out and just flies through all the ships. He just destroys them all by flying through them somehow. So this guy is super overpowered too. He can fly through ships in space somehow, which you didn't know, like he just does that somehow. Somehow, so then when they're flying back with him, with the paladin, the Mallister guy can somehow talk to their ship somehow. I'm not sure how that works. And then he disables their light speed.
Paladin, the Coalition of Planets, thanks you for your intervention, and I am personally in your debt for the safe recovery of my daughter. Where is the rebel leader?
Somewhere you can't get him.
Astera.
Disable their light speed engines. I don't want them running now that Astera's this close.
And somehow from another ship he can disable their light speed somehow. I don't know how that works. You can just do that. So then basically the helper person gets told to teleport over to the warship and then turn back on the hyperspeed from the warship, because she can do that because she's just super overpowered.
Think you can get over to that warship?
I can try.
So then the rock and roll dude guy is sent to find these people, and he does somehow. And he starts shooting at them, but they jump to hyperspace, but they still get hit with something that shocks their ship. But then the helper person can just conveniently, like that, without even doing anything, they're just standing there, fixes the ship somehow.
Going to jump us to light speed.
The ship is sophisticated, though the technology is quite antiquated. I'm certain I can manage the repairs.
Can this thing be trusted?
This thing, his name is Helper.
Short for a hard light projected retainer.
They just telepathically fix the ship, you know, just going like, okay, everything, you're gonna be repaired right now. And then it does, somehow that works. So there's a lot of just somehow it works basically in this movie. That's the main thing to take away from this. The like Han Solo type guy ended up having to go down to Haven, the planet.
There's something here.
Go check it out.
But then it turns out he was pretending the whole time to be dead. And he pulls out his silent gun somehow that made noise a few scenes back and shoots them. So then Mallister's daughter and the Paladin land on Haven, and then they have to find this outpost. She needs to get coordinates or something from it.
Where am I going? There.
So the rock and roll guy's having no luck. So he's like, what am I gonna do? I need to get some superpowered stuff too. So he goes into this room and opens up this box, and you get that cliche light shining out from the box when you open it up. And then grabs out what looks like an iPhone basically in a really sturdy case. You don't really know what that is at the time you're watching it, but it turns out that that is a Paladin technology thingy. And it can pretty much make you do anything you want. So why wasn't he wearing this earlier? I have no idea. So then the Paladin guy's running down the road somewhere for some reason, and then out of nowhere, the rock and roll guy comes shooting out. He like jumped from outer space and now lands right in front of the Paladin guy. All because he has a Paladin technology. Now he can like jump from a ship.
That is Paladin technology. Tell me, friend, how did you acquire it?
From a Paladin, friend.
So then he does what every cool bad guy does, takes off the jacket, and then they start fighting.
Say hello to your brothers.
The rock and roll dude's gun does make some sort of sound on it. It's not super loud, but at least it does make sound. They remembered to put it in on this one. The fight scene and the choreography are all right. You know, they're not super great. They're kind of like something you'd find on YouTube with somebody who likes doing special effects. It looks pretty low budget is what I'm saying. Trying to be nice, but it looks low budget.
Helper, now.
And now, as if the helper couldn't get any more overpowered, they can teleport people now? Teleporting in this movie is just so easy, and it's just so crazy how all this can even happen.
Where are you taking Corbin?
Oh, he'll stay someplace near but far enough. Oh, and I put a little bomb on him. In case you try anything, he goes boom.
What if he like blows up while he's in your ship and then your whole ship's exploded? It's just not a very clever idea, you know, especially when you're dealing with space. You know, you don't want any holes in your ship because then everything's gonna get sucked out into space, but obviously they're not super bright. And to show that tensions are rising, there's an intense growl off.
Well.
Dense.
And then eventually the Paladin and the Novak fight each other too, which turns out to be very anticlimactic, you know? The Paladin is super overpowered.
Ready when you are.
Fatality.
And the funny thing is too, is while the daughter is captured by the pirate, they put her in some handcuffs which if you look closely are just a piece of gutter pipe that they've like bent and made to look like handcuffs, so it's kind of funny. So then eventually they decide to leave in a ship. I don't know which ship it is because they all look the same.
Hurry up.
And he's tied up in like the driving seat chair of the ship, and then the pirate comes up and goes, "You're in my seat," and then punches him. But he got tied up in that seat though, so it's not really his fault, is it, that he's there? Like, did you want him to escape?
You're in my seat.
So then as they're fleeing, all these coalition ships are following them. So what do? Helper goes and teleports to the ships and then like karate chops the pilots and then takes control of the ship. Because none of the characters can do anything. It's just Helper does everything in this movie. So then the main characters land on the rebel base. While they're there, he shows her the middle of the planet, kind of. They just walk to like the middle of the planet.
We think the planet formed around it, but it's impossible to get an accurate date.
And then the two guys, the rock and roll dude and the paladin, are fighting again in the same spot. Like, they seem to just go to different places and do random stuff and then come back to the same place and do the same thing that they were doing before. The battle goes on so long and it doesn't really move the plot forward in any way, they're just fighting. So they shoot this tractor beam onto the paladin to kind of push him down because they can, somehow they do that. I don't know how they can tell what is going on because they're way up in space somehow, but they can see that the paladin is right there and just shoot this tractor beam onto him.
Fire the tractor beam.
Bastard! What, are you gonna kill me like you killed her too?
He then somehow can do force choke and starts force choking her for some reason. This is something he's never done throughout the whole movie and just suddenly pulls it out now. And then so the daughter and the father are talking with each other and he's asking, because she finds out somehow that he killed her mother.
Did you?
She had an option. She chose her path. I didn't want to do it, but she forced my hand!
So at the beginning of the movie, he's like, these guys are just peaceful refugees. They don't have any ships that can attack. Like, at the very end of the movie, somehow all these ships appear from the rebels that can attack. Like, it's so confusing. Like, at first, nobody could fly ships. We don't have any ships. We can attack the coalition. And then all of a sudden, they have all these ships that they can attack the coalition with. So then a generic space fight ensues, or you're just watching a 90s video game. I'm not too sure. The graphics are very similar. Where they say all the generic lines like, he's locked on to me, I can't shake him. You know, all that stereotypical stuff that every space fight has in it. They do all that, which is very good.
Calling all ships. That's your planet's heart down there. Let's pull it together and end this thing. Everyone on me.
We're with ya. Watch your backs. Here they come. Get them. You got one behind you.
He's locked onto me. I'm gonna try to lose him. A little help would be nice.
Hang in there. 12's on him.
If you have it, take the shot. Fire!
During the space fight, he super easily just shoots down the tractor beam and destroys it. You know, just a couple shots from his little ship that he somehow found on the planet just blew up the tractor beam on this massive warship super easily.
Okay, I'm going for the beam. Cover me.
We're on you.
Whoa, yeah! That tractor beam's down, but the warship's still kicking.
And then because they got so much of their inspiration from The Last Jedi, they decided to use the pirates' kind of cargo ship and they send it crashing into the big warship and it creates a lot of explosions and blows stuff up.
Prepare for impact. In 3, 2, 1.
So they destroy that, and then that kind of gets forgotten about.
The Manticore isn't moving.
It's already escaped the planet's gravitational pull.
You're going to have to use that ship and push it back down.
So basically they decide that the only way to get the Manticore back into the planet is to land a ship on it. And so they thought that just landing a ship on it was somehow gonna like force it back down into the planet, but it obviously doesn't work. So the only thing they can do now is self-destruct the ship, but they try to go all heroic and the Paladin's like, no, I'll stay here, I'll self-destruct the ship. The helper person's like, no, don't do that, you've done enough, let me do that. And then so he puts it into self-destruct mode and he leaves. And then the helper person just stays there, even though she can teleport anywhere and do anything, and she just gets blown up with the ship.
Give her everything you got.
You've already sacrificed yourself once for Haven. You don't need to do it again. I can handle the ship.
Self-destruct sequence initiated.
Thank you, Helper.
Self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Why didn't she just set the self-destruct mode on the ship and just teleport? Like, why didn't she do that? So basically the movie ends on that the Coalition's kind of lost this battle, but they'll be back again. So stay tuned for part 2. It looks like they're trying to make a series of this, maybe even a trilogy. If there is a sequel to this movie, I will definitely be checking it out. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment down below what you thought of the movie and if you know any other movies made by them that I should check out. Okay, thank you and bye.